So Timothy Bradley recently made the comments that Terence Crawford could go on to surpass Muhammad Ali and become the certified greatest boxer of all time, but only if he can beat Janibek, David Benavidez, and Dimitri Bivol. Now, honestly, from Timothy Bradley, this is a great take because I think it's true. I think if Terence Crawford is to go down as the greatest boxer of all time, he needs to accomplish something that is truly great. Not that he hasn't done that already with wins over Errol Spence and Canelo. Those were great wins, dominant wins. But you need to do something even more to become the greatest of all time. Not to just be the greatest of this generation, which he is. To be the greatest boxer ever. He would need to beat Janibek, who is the best middleweight in the world, in my opinion, at this point. You will need to beat Dimitri Bivol, who's the best light heavyweight in the world at this, in my opinion, and David Benavidez, who is undoubtedly one of the best at 168 and 175. He's not currently fighting at 168, but when he was at 168, was an undefeated world champion and is now moved up to 175 and is currently an undefeated world champion. Right? That's a tall task, though, because that will be asking him to move up another weight division. He's already went up 2 weight divisions from 154 to 168. He would have to go up again to fight not just anyone, to fight literally probably the 2 best light heavyweights in the world at the moment. Right? I think he could beat Janibek. I think Janibek is a tough fight. I think that fight makes a lot of sense because if Janibek, he's going to be fighting Lara next in a 3-belt unification bout. If he beats Lara, which I think he will, he'll have 3 belts at middleweight. Crawford can fight him. I think Crawford could beat him as well. It'd be a tough fight. And again, Janibek causes a lot of problems stylistically with him being southpaw and being tricky and a puncher too. Don't sleep on Janibek's power. This dude throws with bad intentions, right? Decent footwork as well. Decent elusive footwork. Hard to land clean on. Especially hard to land sustained shots clean to the head. But there's definitely paths to victory there for Crawford because Crawford's been in there with a higher caliber of opponent. That's the reality of it. Janibek's not really fought anyone anywhere near the level of Terence Crawford. Even when he fights Lara, Lara's nowhere near the level of Crawford. Lara's the guy who went to war with Jared Hurd at 154. This isn't the guy who just beat Canelo 10 rounds to 2. This is the you know what I mean. Crawford's the guy who beat Canelo 10 rounds to 2. Lara is the guy who went to war with Jared Hurd at 154. So there's levels to this. And yeah, again, even if Terence Crawford was just able to beat Janibek, that puts you in conversations. Because at that point, you're what? Undisputed at 140, undisputed at 147, undisputed at 168, and 3 belts at 160. That's crazy, bro. I mean, 3 belts at 160, that's crazy, bro. Come on. That in and of itself. And then, okay, let's say he beats Janibek. Then he goes up 2 more weight divisions from 160 to light heavyweight. And he fights Bivol. Again, Bivol is not a huge 175-pound fighter. Bivol was said he'd even be willing to go down to 168 to fight Canelo. Of course, I suppose that Canelo fight's not on anymore, but if he's willing to go down to 168 to fight Canelo, would he be willing to go down to 168 to fight Crawford? Maybe. And if he did, what would happen? Again, Bivol would be a lot bigger than Crawford. He would be able to use that physicality, go on the front foot. But again, Bivol's a guy who's more than capable of boxing on the back foot too. We saw it against Beterbiev. And he's got a Soviet style that's very hard to prepare for. But honestly, because Bivol's style is so sort of unique and so it's so traditionally Soviet, like there's loads of game plans on how to beat Soviet style boxers, I could see Crawford implementing an effective enough game plan to beat Bivol. Because I truly think styles make fights. Right? And even though Bivol may be a better boxer than Beterbiev, I think Beterbiev has the better skill set to beat a Crawford. Because yes, Benavidez, you could arguably say he is like Canelo in some senses where he can be a bit ploddy on offense, but Benavidez throws a lot more punches than Canelo throws. What was always going to be the problem in Canelo v Crawford would be Canelo's lack of volume and his only willingness to pot shot. Because Crawford would be too quick to catch, and his his hand speed would be too quick and he'd counter Canelo pretty much every time, which is exactly what I said would happen, and is exactly what Crawford did. You would struggle to do that against Benavidez because Benavidez isn't trying to pot shot. Benavidez isn't trying to walk you down, throw one big shot and sort of halt your momentum. Benavidez will throw 2, 3, 4, 5 punches at a time. And he's bigger than you. Way bigger than you. Benavidez would walk into that ring over 200 pounds. Let's have it right. And Crawford would probably be struggling to make 175. I don't think he'd go into that ring more than 180, 185. Benavidez would be in that ring all of over 200 pounds. Right? I think it'd just be too much for Crawford to handle. Which is weird to say. And I don't want to make the mistake of underestimating Crawford because I've made that mistake many times in my life now. I made that mistake against Errol Spence and I made that mistake against Canelo. Underestimated him. But this guy's a special boxer, and if he was able to go on and beat those 3 fighters, he would 100% be the GOAT of boxing. But could he do it? I don't know. I think he could beat Johnny Beck. I think it'd be a hard fight, and I don't think that's a gimme at all. Johnny Beck poses a lot of trouble for Crawford, but I think he could beat Johnny Beck. I think Bivol and Benavidez is flying a bit too close to the sun. I think it is. But yeah, I'd be curious to know what you guys think of Terence Crawford if he could beat those 3 guys, and if he did beat those 3 guys, do you think that would make him the GOAT? I'd be curious to know what you guys think in the comments below. And yeah, another episode of the Seth Solo Side Quest in the bag, and I'm out. Peace.